Alright, so I'm going to try and help you guys out here with DP contracts. DP, of course, stands for Developing Players. First of all, I apologize for the crappy quality of this video. I know about as much about videos as you do about DP contracts. So let's get started. So I got my team page open up here. And I'm going to scroll down. As you can see, I got to fill in mine. I haven't done my salaries yet. I happen to know my years are accurate. If you don't know whether or not you have accurate years, check the spreadsheet. Spreadsheet up here. I'll pick a random team. Toronto. You'll be able to tell what year your DP is looking at the spreadsheet. So here's the column for the current season, right? And we got values here because they've already been filled in. Well, the DP contract runs. The first year is $300,000. The second year is $500,000. The third year is 30%, as you can see right here. So Mr. Wojciechowski, he's in year 2 this year. Year 3 is 30%, year 4 is 40, year 5 is 60. And this 80-100 thing, the vast majority of players will be 80% of their performance values. We'll get to that in a second. The top 25 on ESPN's Player Rater will get 100% if they happen to hit the top 25 of the Player Rater the year they are DP6. So we got to understand about our DP contracts is we use performance modifiers, as I just mentioned. If you go to the home page, we'll go to announcements, and right here, DP modifiers for 2019. We try to keep this updated every season. We can thank the Indians owner for that, Tim. Thank you very much, Tim. And you can see here we have modifiers for different stats. For hitters, you need to know that in order to qualify for the average or OPS modifiers, they have to have 150 at-bats. For pitchers, we have 2 things you need to know. The first is they have to average at least 3 innings per appearance to use the starters box. Otherwise, you'll go down here to relievers. And the second is we prorate Ks, ERA, and WHIP against 200 innings pitched. We had an issue in the past where our relievers with good ERAs were ridiculously overpriced. Scott Atkinson comes to mind. He had a season where he had an ERA under 2 and he cost something like $5 million and generated no other stats. The guy was, a bum. So I got the modifiers opened up. I'll give you a hitting example and I'll give you a pitching example. So we'll start with the hitters because it's easiest. We can see here that I need to do Javi Baez as a DP6. So I'm going to pull up my ESPN, and here's Javi Baez. So let me get the notebook out. And let's see here. Javi Baez had 101 runs. He had 34 homers. We've got 111 RBI. I've got 21 steals. His batting average was .290. His OPS was .881. And of course we can see that with 606 at-bats he clearly qualifies for average and OPS modifiers. So I'll take you over to the modifier screen. And we've got 101 runs. Runs right in here, 89 to 110, so that's 2.5. Then I've got 34 home runs. That's also 2.5. I've got 111 RBI, that's the full 3. I've got 21 steals, another 2.5. He's getting expensive. I have the .290 batting average. That falls here at 2. And I have an .881 OPS. Falls in at 2. So that's $14.5 million FFS dollars. Now we got to go to the player rater because he's a DP6. So I have to see if he gets 80 or 100. And here's Javi Baez at 8, so it's 100%. So his DP6 salary for this year would be $14.5 million. Now, if he was, say, a year 3, well, remember year 3 is 30%, so just times this number by 0.3 and round up. So if he was a year 3, he'd be 4.35 million. Go back to that. This would be a year 4 salary at 0.4, and then the year 5 salary at 0.6. So that's how you find a DP salary for hitters. That one's pretty easy. It gets a little bit more interesting with pitchers. So let's find one that's not a 6. Let's go with, got Miles Mikolas. Miles Mikolas, right there. He is a 3. So I come over here. Do I have Miles on my... Of course, I don't have him directly on my ESPN, so I got to go to players. He's a pitcher. Plays for the Cardinals. And there he is. So, if you remember at the beginning of this video, I told you that we prorate pitchers against 200 innings. Well, Miles Mikolas here pitched 200 2/3 innings. Remember, in baseball, a 0.1 is a third inning, and a 0.2 is 2/3 innings. So we're going to start with the proration part, 200.67, 200 2/3 innings, divided by 200. So we can see he's going to get just a little bit of a boost on his Ks, ERA, and WHIP modifiers. So we'll go back to the modifier screen. Oh, just remember quickly again, we know he's a starter, but if you aren't sure, pull up his player card, go to stats, and you could see that 32 games, he averaged more than 3 innings per appearance with 200 innings. If you're not sure, do the division. That one seems pretty obvious. So we'll come back over here. So we need Ks, ERA, and WHIP. Sorry, I'm kind of dragging here. Here we go. So let me erase all this. And I'm going to write down his stats. We got 146 Ks. Well, let's do that right. An ERA of 2.83. And a WHIP of 1.07. I put those together because those are the prorated stats. We'll also need to know he had 18 wins. And you could see he had 0 saves, 0 holds. So with pitchers, if they happen to qualify for saves or holds on the other table, or if they're a reliever, wins on this table, you will add that modifier too. Kind of rare, but it does happen. So I had Miles Mikolas' numbers. I'm coming over to my starters table. Let me pull up my notepad. Let me get my calculator. That was the 200 2/3 innings over 200. So I need to see 146K. That's 1.5 million. 283 ERA. That's 3 million. So 1.5 plus 3. We're at 4.5 million. 107 WHIP. That's right here. That's also 3. So 7.5 million. So we're going to take this number, multiply by 7.5. We get this. Now we have 18 wins. That's 3.75 million. And this is his base number. Now we know that he is a DP3, and if you remember from earlier, that is 30%, so times 0.3. Mr. Mikolas' salary will be 3.38 million for this season. And there you go. You got a pitcher salary. I hope that helped. And if you have any more questions, you can see us on the forum.